It's really quite amazing that the human mind is able to take so many different categories and store them for later recall. Since this is the information that you're looking for when you're taking notes and reading, remember we have to have a purpose when we read. You're going to have to find these in the written word. When you're reading a story, that would be fiction, something that's made up, not true, could be based on some truth, but it's fictional. These categories are woven into the story, much like if you would meet a person for the first time and you would be visiting with them, finding out different things about what they like, where they're from, where they were born, that type of thing. If a person moved into your school district and you were visiting with that person, you would only know that student from the moment you met him or her forward. So anything else that you would learn about the history of that particular person would be a flashback. And flashbacks are often used in literature. But the point is that the age, the facts, the reasons why that person moved, the family, so forth, is all information that you receive piecemeal or along the way. Taking notes from a nonfiction source, like a textbook, is really quite a bit easier. The author of those textbooks organize the factual information into certain headings. For example, we've got units in most textbooks. And within the units, there are usually several chapters. The chapters then are sectioned off. And in each section, there are different topics that are explained. And finally, we have subtopics. Within this hierarchy, we find this information. Textbooks are so anxious for you to be able to find what's important that they sometimes bold print the vocabulary words and define them in the same sentence. Or they might use italics. They'll put a word bank before the chapter or on the sidebar so you can see what they're highlighting. Sometimes they put the vocabulary word and define it right in the sidebar. And of course, nonfiction books have glossaries and indexes where you can use those for reference to find this type of information within the text. The unit is usually the highest or most general category within the textbook. So we would focus on title with that, so you get a general category of what you're thinking about or what they're going to discuss. Perhaps if it was social studies, this would be the colonial period. A chapter might be the colonial period in the northern colonies. Another chapter might be the colonial period in the middle colonies, and maybe we have a third chapter within this unit that would talk about the colonies in the southern part of the U.S. Sections might be maybe Massachusetts or Connecticut or the New York colony. So we could have those kinds of sections. And so if they were doing the northern colonies, maybe we have 3 sections underneath this heading. Topics may be apprenticeships or work for maybe farming and perhaps blacksmith. And finally, we would get some actual detail about the day-to-day work of the pioneer wife, or we would get the day-to-day of the blacksmith. So that would be the subtopic. At any rate, as you're digging down farther and farther into the information, you're seeing more and more of these types of notable pieces of information.